This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the fast and easy way to make a beautiful website. Good morning, one and all. I've gotten a lot of questions on kind of just what it's like to be by myself, be in my own space, and be isolated alone, how to cope with that. Just how I've been finding it in general. So I thought I'd open up the line and just kind of answer some questions that I put up on a question poll on my Instagram. So I'm going to answer those today, but not all of them will be kind of pandemic related. A lot of you have also had to isolate by yourselves and spend weeks on end alone. The area that I'm from, like Ireland and England, are currently in a lockdown again, like a full lockdown. I thought that it might be a nice time to just kind of reflect on some of my thoughts around it and my routines and my ideas that kind of got me through it. Aside from the pandemic, I previously did have a lot of experience living on my own, having an alright natural bedhead day, but I could probably do with cleaning up my face for you guys. So let's get coffee and get right into your guys' questions. Well, we've got the goods. I think we're adequately caffeinated now. Also just getting my fresh air because you know that's good for you. Oh, okay, that's a little better. Guys, I'm wearing sweatpants. Aside from when I tried them on in my last video, when have you ever seen me in sweatpants? Kind of converted. This is the beginning now of the end. I'll never wear proper pants again. Jeans, forget about it. Got a comment on one of my recent videos of someone saying, do you ever sit on that lovely couch you have? Yes, I do, but it doesn't generally lend itself to vlogging. But just for you, I'm gonna film a little bit of this video right in this spot. Thank you so much for the good, juicy questions. I'm just gonna dive right in. I got a couple regarding breakups. I kind of expected this one to come up, but there was a lot of questions regarding relationships, breaking up or not working out over this pandemic. In the words of this gal, how do you deal with a shitty ass breakup in the middle of a pandemic? Well, there's been a lot of getting together, a lot of coughing up, but also even more breaking up during this whole thing. It's just not something that's easy to navigate for anyone involved, whether you're the one being broken up with or doing the breaking up. It's so much more intense and heightened, and you feel so much more upset in a way because a lot of the breakups aren't even happening face to face. People are not kind of maybe getting as much closure as they normally would. For example, like the person that is doing the breaking up, in a way, COVID has, really made everyone reevaluate their lives, what they want, the kind of partner they want to be with, across every aspect of their life. And if you feel like your partner isn't aligning with the future that you see for yourself, I feel like, yes, COVID has really sped up those decisions that maybe people have put off. Also, I think a lot of people have realized that they just can't live with their partner under pandemic stress. And then you have, on the other hand, if you've been broken up with and you're desperately sad about it, obviously it's like a really painful, horrible thing to do, especially if you can't get like a certain amount of closure, which I think even in a normal relationship we rarely do kind of get that closure of where the ones that we're broken up with. It just sucks that everything is closed. You can't get over someone in the normal way that you would, whether it's getting under somebody else or just going to a nightclub or a pub and having a kiss. It's just like, it's a lot harder to do those kind of like checklist things that all your friends tell you to do when you're going through a breakup. Part of me feels like by removing those distractions that we usually do and actually just dealing with our feelings up front and just being really, really upset for a shorter period of time and dealing with processing everything head on, I think maybe helps in a weird sort of way with kind of just moving on faster and healing in more of a whole type of way. So I really can't speak for everyone. Everyone kind of processes that kind of heartbreak differently. I look at the pandemic and COVID as this huge rug, and in life a lot of the times we sweep stuff under the rug, we sweep stuff we don't like about our relationships and just cover it all up with the busyness of our daily lives. And I think that 2020 has really just burnt up the rug, has just thrown it in the bin. There's nowhere to hide, everything's up front. Everyone can be seen for who they are, and sometimes that just doesn't align with what one person or two people want. Also, in general, just for anyone going through a breakup, my biggest advice is, no matter how hurt you are or how crappy the situation is, I think a big part of moving on is just forgiving the whole situation, forgiving yourself for whatever hasn't worked out, forgiving the other person for however they made you feel, and just laying it all to bed and just wishing them the best, wishing them that they can find the person that is right for them and that you will align with what is right for you. For anyone that needs to hear it, trust me, there is plenty of people in this world for you. There's not just one person, there's many people that can love you and show you new types of love. Things you do to get out of an anxious spiral, especially when you're alone. I watched a tarot reading recently, and the lady who I love was kind of like, is this normal intensity or 2020 intensity? And it's the same with anxiety. It's like trying to recognize if this is regular anxiety or 2020 anxiety. But there's a couple of go-to things that I have kind of put into practice that do make me feel better. I know it's a really obvious one, but talking to friends. This is something that I've really had to like learn the art of, because I'm not a very expressive person when it comes to my own issues. Like, I will sit there and listen to someone else's problems all day long. I'll be like, you know, a total shoulder to cry on. But when it comes to my own stuff, like, I have a hard time even recognizing when I'm going through a hard time. Yes, there's the normal choosing to live alone, which I enjoy, but I do actually like other people's company. And I think the longest that I went not seeing a single soul that I actually know was 6 weeks, which was kind of in the height of like when New York was the epicenter of the pandemic. We do this really nice thing where we check in with each other regularly. So getting into the habit of throwing into like your WhatsApp group or your, you know, your Instagram DM group, being like, how's everyone doing today? Like, is everyone good? It just gives the chance for people to open up and take a second to think like, am I okay today? Certain reassurance that you can get from friends, and when you feel like you're heard and what you're feeling is normal. And like, a lot of the times anxiety, like, there isn't actually a reason or a particular thing. You may have just been triggered, or you might have just woken up feeling that way, and it's okay to express that. Just feel like, okay, I'm not feeling great today, and maybe making plans with your friends, knowing that the anxiety will pass. Anxiety does not last forever the majority of the time. Now, obviously, if you are experiencing long bouts of anxiety, go see a health professional about it. Feeling like, okay, I feel really weird and really crappy right now, but I won't feel like this in a couple of days, I won't feel like this in a week. Honestly, sometimes you do just need to sit in your feelings, and it can be hormonal, it can be for whatever reason. Spending that time in bed in the evening, really trying to get to the root of how I feel. It usually happens during a big cry, but taking that time to try and get as close to the root of my anxiety as possible, and really identifying what it is that's actually making me feel stressed, and seeing if there's anything I can do to help alleviate that anxiety. Sometimes just being around certain people can bring a heavy energy or an anxious energy. Sometimes it means like taking space or journaling, and just actually trying to get into your subconscious thoughts as much as you can. Sometimes there just isn't a reason, and you just need to ease through it and be gentle on yourself. Physical things that help too. I know it's like the oldest thing in the book, but like fresh air, exercise, eating well, like that stuff does help. Like, I find when I am exercising regularly, like a 20-30 minute workout, or just breaking a sweat, like going outside and skipping rope for 15 minutes, that releases so much endorphins and just like serotonin to my brain. Even just like taking care of my gut health, like that has been a huge thing for me, like eating more probiotic foods, taking some supplements, CBD oil, really. Oh my god, yeah, we just love when it gets dark at 3 p.m. We love that. Big fan. There was some around this topic, and they kind of all bleed into each other. So questions from the likes of Circa, who said, are you introverted or extroverted, and do you think it helped through lockdown? Along with, do you find that you don't always need to be around people as much now? I would say I do. I'm kind of what you would describe as like an introverted extrovert, which sounds really contradictory. But I actually think a better explanation is I'm selectively extroverted, but generally I do enjoy my alone time. I'm very used to being on my own. I'm an only child. I can keep myself occupied. But I have friends, really close friends, who really thrive off of being around other people, don't like being alone. So it's been interesting to kind of see how we've all handled this pandemic. It's definitely a fine line between, okay, enjoying my own time and actually getting too isolated, because I can definitely fall into that sometimes where I kind of just go into hermit mode. I'm also Virgo moon, so hermit mode comes very easily to me, and there's certain times of the month or the year where I need that, and I think my friends really understand that. We have group chats that are never quiet for more than, 10 hours, so it's a nice way for my friends to know that I'm okay and that I know they're okay. But I also feel lucky in that some of them know me so well now that they do and can identify when I'm being a little bit too isolated, and just to take that extra time to check in on me and see if I could do with getting a coffee or if I just need my space. But after a while of just being on your own, you can almost get an anxiety around just hanging out with people. It's a very simple thing, but definitely social anxiety can kind of creep in. Kind of making a coffee date or plans for dinner or inviting someone over at least once a week is a big priority for me. What do you do when your friends and your family are busy but you feel lonely? And 100% investing that time into yourself, whether it's just like reading a book or learning an instrument or watching some documentaries and educating yourself on a topic that you're really interested about. Somebody else said something in here about being lonely and just kind of wanting someone to chat to while they're cooking dinner, situations like that. One of my go-to things I do when I truly do feel those times of loneliness is just picking up the phone and calling someone. Like sometimes I'll have days where I'll FaceTime 2 or 3 people in a day, whether I'm making dinner or lounging on the couch or in between work. It's just fun, and I always feel really good and happy after. There's something about talking to someone that you really love face to face that does make you feel less lonely and just happier, which we're all trying to feel. I have a hard time scheduling days and won't take care of myself. How do you manage it? There was lots kind of with this vibe. Calendar, organization, lists, all of that stuff. I'm not a natural list maker or kind of a schedule keeper, but I'm the kind of person, if I don't wake up knowing what I'm going to do for that day, everything goes to shit. I'll stay in bed till 11. Keeping the schedule realistic is really important, because if you plan too much and you don't schedule in days off and time for things to go wrong, you'll probably be disappointed and feel shittier about yourself, which is something that I easily do. But definitely making sure that you have your weekends, a day to just purposeless time to do whatever you want to do nothing. That's so important, to have that room to think. But also just having a day, sometimes taking care of yourself means just doing your laundry, doing your dishes, cleaning your space, things that help lighten your mind. For me, clearing my clutter is something that makes me also have a productive week. Okay, let's do one more and then I'll make dinner and answer a couple of more. I think we can mention being independent, taking care of your shiz, living alone without touching on budget and financing. So this is a really great question from a long time follower and subscriber, Michelle. Do you have a set budget, i.e. X amount goes into savings, X amount for social things, etc.? Personally, I am a bit loose with my approach to everything. So I have a broad goal for what I want, let's say what I want to spend in the month, and I have an idea of what my costs are, and then I have an idea of what I want to save. But it's not really so much that I choose an amount to save every month. It's just, okay, I have this chunk of money, I'm just going to put it straight into my savings, and if I need to take out of it, I can. But for the most part, I take care of my expenses, and I kind of live within a certain amount of money that I know I can live comfortably on. And when I say live comfortably, I mean go out, get my organic groceries that I enjoy so much, and my coffees and my dinner or lunches with friends, things like that, without having to feel like I'm counting my pennies. As well, even if I'm having a good month and I'm earning more money, it doesn't necessarily mean I want to spend it all. I just put it into my savings account and keep living my everyday month as I was before. So I'll probably do a little less shopping and a bit more saving, if I'm being honest. But For me, it's the most important thing to live a life that I'm enjoying and that is comfortable, as opposed to, you know, I'm not about that like super hardcore Scrooge savings life. I know what it feels like to live on a shoestring budget. The first year I moved to New York, like I literally had to consider if I could even afford a coffee. I could only get like 1 or 2 coffees a week and like just scrape my rent and like live off ramen 5-pack for $1 noodles. Like I know what that life is like, and everything I've done is to strive to get out of that. I don't like being in that position. It makes me deeply uncomfortable, and I will work and do and grind what I need to not feel like that. Having that financial security of savings has been one of my proudest things that I've done in the past like year and a half. Sometimes being kind to yourself and surviving a lonely girl pandemic is lighting your favorite bougie candle, which you've been very sparingly burning for about 3 years. I want to get cozy with you. Okay, we are in bed, candles are lighting, got some nice scents going. This is a great one. Alcohol consumption by yourself / virtually with friends, how many times a week? Before I delve into that rabbit hole, big thank you to my sponsors today, Squarespace. If you don't already know, Squarespace is a platform where you can basically create a website from start to finish, and they make it super easy, really user friendly and professional looking above all else. And they have all different styles of templates for you to choose from, whether you need a blog, an online store to sell your products, a portfolio, a gallery of your work, whatever it is you need, you can do it from Squarespace. I can attest, I've been using it for years. The user experience is so easy and quick to get used to. You just pick a template to suit your needs and the style of website you like, and you'll be up and running in no time alongside their 24/7 support team. If you want to try it and not just take my word for it, you can check out my 14-day trial at squarespace.com/Tarmar. It'll also be in the top line of the description. If you want to push your site live in the future, you can use my code Tarmar at checkout for 10% off your future billing. If you don't need it right now, just keep it in mind. Keep it in mind for the future. To that question about alcohol consumption, how many times a week? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to that. Like, to me, it's like, I mean, my excuse for everything is it's a pandemic. You know, do what you gotta do to distress or handle it. For me personally, I have a pretty good relationship with alcohol. I can kind of take it or leave it. There's definitely times though over this pandemic where I felt like, wow, someone passed me a drink. That I look forward to and I can enjoy responsibly for the most part. But yeah, there's definitely been nights over this pandemic where I've been absolutely trashed virtually with friends, which is such a weird thing to like live through, but also really cool because it wasn't something I did before with my friends back in Ireland. We would just use this app called JQBX, where we can all share like our Spotify playlist and like take turns DJing, and we would usually bring the Zoom on and just mute it so that we could all see each other dancing. And those nights I definitely got trashed, and they were good for the soul. Like in the height of when New York was the epicenter and everything was full lockdown, barely left the house for the whole week, that got me through that one night a week. You just need to analyze whether it's a positive thing for you or a negative thing for you. Alcohol is a depressant, and a lot of people forget that it is actually, and a lot of people tend to forget that. So for me, it's kind of about choosing an alcohol that doesn't make me feel really crappy. You know, some are worse than others. For example, like I just drink Disaronno if I'm at the house because it's a very light liquor. I can drink quite a bit of it and not get like horrendous hangovers. It just kind of suits me. Disaronno, if you're out there, you want to sponsor me, hit a girl up. If you wake up feeling crappy, really anxious, depressed, or just like kind of have like the fear, then you probably should consider maybe some alternatives, or you know, at the end of the day you get kind of a short-term high. So I think with that in mind, if you're enjoying yourself responsibly and you're not feeling in a worse off place than you were when you started, I really don't see the harm. Got a couple like this about transitioning from living with someone to living alone, and it's something I've done on and off a lot. Luckily I did kind of have some experience, and I was really grateful for my time alone when I first moved to New York, that 2.5 years, because it did teach me to really be on my own and to like only have myself to look out for and to watch my own back. And that's something that I've kind of been able to take into this experience as well. A couple that I saved that were all along the lines of, you know, I live with roommates and I'm about to live on my own. Do you feel scared living on your own? Do you feel nervous at night? Do you feel unsafe? A lot of things under that umbrella. I actually think now the scary thing for me is when I'm living alone and transitioning to living with others again. That was something in the past that I found extremely difficult. Like anything, it's about recognizing how you feel and then doing something about it. If I feel lonely, okay, can I connect with others? Can I do something that will make me feel happy? For me, like music is a huge one. Like music got me through a lot of my loneliness. I play music every single day in the loft, and it just fills that void of quietness. Even before that, when I was on my own, I still would make an effort once a week to enjoy a drink or two, put on some music, listen to like an old recorded set on YouTube. Like if you watch me on Instagram stories, you'll know I'm a big fan of a loft dance party for one, because for me, dancing and listening to music is just good for the soul. I just think music in general has been such a great escapism for me. Over the pandemic, it's probably the only thing that makes me forget about anxiety or my worries, is just like putting on one of my playlists, whether it be like my dance playlist, my chill playlist, my sad playlist. By the way, I have like a categorized public Spotify lists which you can follow. It's so cute. I get tagged in Instagram stories all the time with you guys like working from home and stuff, listening to those. Put up this video, you can listen to it in the background. It's about that connecting with something. Can I just say, it is a privilege to live on your own. It's not something everyone gets a chance to do. Sometimes you go from home to working with flatmates to meeting your partner to getting married and always having a full house, which is a beautiful thing. But the chance to live on your own is such a special, selfish experience. And I mean selfish in like a positive way. You learn so much about yourself, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. But I don't know a lot of people that truly dislike living on their own. If anything, it's always been the opposite, where people living on their own find it very hard to transition back. Regarding the questions like, do I feel unsafe or spooked living on my own? Funnily enough, I've always noticed I'm a bit more of a scaredy cat when I'm with somebody else. Don't know why. I feel very comfortable on my own. I mean, I was broken into in my flat in Belfast. I literally was naked in my bed and had someone break into my house, and I had to like scream them out of my apartment. I scared the person out. Have a bit more confidence in yourself, and especially after an experience like that, I just feel like, okay, that happened and I think I handled it pretty well. Over here always prepping for the old 1-2. I'm gonna finish on this one because I think it's probably the most important of all the questions, and kind of like a nice summary of everything I said today, but things you learned through living alone. So 3 things came to mind regarding this question, and the first thing leading on from what we just talked about is how self-reliant I am in general living alone, but especially again through this pandemic. I was just kind of reminded through everything that happened in 2020, like, wow, I can do this, I can do it by myself, and just kind of cope. And I mean, I don't think any of us would choose to go through hard times or experience hard things, but they do shape who we are, and I feel more self-reliant from it. I've always been someone who takes pride in growing my ability to be independent, and a lot of this year has been learning how to be independent, but also knowing when to rely on others and know when to open up and lean on others when I need to. Really learned, I think for the first time in my life, how to properly sit in my emotions and feel everything. Did feel like I was a little bit less in touch with my emotions when I was on the contraceptive pill. So I feel like I feel things a lot deeper now, and it has been a bit of a new experience for me. I'm a Libra, so natural bottler of emotions and problems and issues. Getting a lot better at processing things as they come and just sitting in the discomfort a little bit and letting myself cry or be vulnerable, and be open with others and share those experiences and not deal with everything myself. That was a really big hurdle for me last month over Scorpio season, like addressing a lot of like skeletons in my closet that were so deep in my subconscious I didn't even know they were there, like little traumas and things that were just buried so deep that had been coming to the surface and bubbling up in some aspects of my life, and just being able to kind of sit and think like, why am I thinking that way? Why am I reacting that way? And staring it in the face and doing the work and addressing it, acknowledging it, and learning, you know, how to let go of some stuff and baggage that I don't want to carry into my future self. I think the most rewarding thing though about being alone overall forces you to be with your own thoughts. You have so much more time to think, and that can sometimes be a self-destructive thing. I think whole process has made me like who I am and like my thoughts and like who I am by myself. And that sounds like a very simple thing, but it's something you really can't be sure of until you're forced to be alone without distractions. And it's something I can say from like the bottom of my heart, like I am happy with who I am, and like everything just rolls off my back now. You could say the meanest thing to my face and it just I wouldn't care, because I've spent so much time creating a version of myself that I would want to be friends with and that I love, that just it's like rolls off my back. Yeah, being alone sucks sometimes, but I think that it's just about silver linings. It's about taking the time and making the most of it. There's something to be gained by every experience you're in. This video kept you company and felt like a nice little heart hug. It was really nice having this one-to-one with you. I actually spent a lot longer filming it than I thought I would. Also, be sure to have notifications on or follow me on Instagram, where I post when my videos go up, because some videos are not going to be going up on Sunday. I think next week's video might be going up on like a Friday or a Saturday. And even if like last week, I think I posted on a Saturday instead of a Sunday, and half of you did not see the video. I do try my best to stick to the Sunday vlog squad, but with sponsors and stuff it doesn't always happen. I do feel like I'm speaking to you guys and that we're having a connection and a one-to-one time, and I'm just looking forward to seeing the comments and all of that good stuff. So okay, I'll catch you guys very, very soon. Bye.